Alright, a long time ago there was no way that I thought I'd ever make a video about what I'm going to be speaking about now, to be honest. A few weeks ago, basically, it was the 17th anniversary of me giving up alcohol for good, completely. And the younger me beforehand, 17 years, it's a milestone that I never ever thought, in a way, well, not that I couldn't get there, but I just didn't think that I'd actually reach that milestone. When I first gave up, I wanted to hit a 10, 15, 20 year milestone, because I thought 2 months, which was massive for me, it don't mean anything. When I used to hear about these people that had done these massive milestones, and I thought, I've got to be one of them, because it don't matter, it doesn't mean anything. Unless I can get to that level, it don't mean anything. But I don't know, through wisdom and through that course now, getting up to 17 years, whether it's different now that I'm feeling like this, but I look back and think, that's what you have to do at the start. You have to feel like that to a degree, because that gives you a hunger to change. You have to want to get to that 5 years, you have to want to get to that 10 years, that 15 years. But back at that point, sometimes the next day seems like an impossible task to get to the next day without drinking. Now, everyone's got their own journeys, everyone's does different things. Some people go into AA is an amazing thing for them, and I get that. I get how that can help. I tried it on 2 occasions. I think on the second occasion I went to two different actual sort of sit-ins, whatever they're called. But first time, can't even remember. Second time, I think I was such an idiot. I think the first time I probably come out and then just thought it'd be funny to go home and have a drink. But the second occasion, I remember thinking, it's not for me, because I couldn't hand over my issues and what I'd done to this to a God, to a higher power. I carried the guilt around for any things I'd done through my years of drinking, and I thought, I have to face that. That comes down to me. That was me doing that. It wasn't someone else, it was me doing it. So if I want to change it, I have to own that. And you have to own that shit in anything in life. Blaming other people, and to me that's just another form of blaming someone else. Yeah, again, if it works for you, brilliant, and you can keep away from it, brilliant. For me, it was about ownership. I was the one who decided to pick up that drink every time, and then bang, the doors kicked open and chaos, whatever happened after picking up that drink. Now that's me picking up that drink, it's no one else. It's such a, I hate the word trigger, but it is a triggering thing for me. Just the alcohol thing. It's not that it's going to make me start again. It's not. I don't know, if I go back to the start, basically, when I was younger, I've said about the autism, the ADHD, not knowing about it, not knowing what that was, it manifesting inside of me, how that would affect my relationship with people, my emotional growth along them lines. But when I found alcohol, I can't even remember the first time, to be honest, whether I was about 13, 14 when I first tasted it. Like a lot of people, I thought it was disgusting. I didn't get the thing with beer, and I thought, how can I grow up and be a man if I don't like the taste of beer? That was what society definitely deemed of you. If you couldn't drink beer, what sort of man you're going to grow up to be? But hairs on your chest, things like that, you know, all them little things that were said. I think maybe in a good way that has changed. to a degree now that it's more acceptable if you don't want to drink when you're growing up younger. I don't believe we should control people and force them or to make them feel bad for doing it, because if you can be in charge of it, you can control it, then all power to you. That's good, because you're taking ownership of it and you're looking after yourself. You're making sure it's not harming you, it's not harming other people. Then, you know, credence to you that you're doing the right thing with it. So I don't think we should control other people and dictate to them that they should stop, because to me that comes under the freedom of speech thing. It's freedom of action as long as you're not harming or hurting others. So, but I definitely feel that you have to own it though, and be honest with yourself. And when I was younger like that, when I started, wanting to go out or get confidence, whether it be with girls, with friends, with school, them latter years, when I could actually drink and I had a couple of beers and I started to, I wouldn't say like the taste, but I could handle the taste. That was, I wouldn't say the beginning of the end, but that was on a road that wasn't conducive to happiness or any of the things that I wanted and craved for in my life. And having them first drinks, it injected me with who I thought I wanted to be. It made me almost superhuman. That confidence I lacked when I was younger, all of a sudden I could go out, I could start speaking to people, I didn't feel embarrassed, and it was a false confidence. And I just worry for people in the future, if you use it as a false confidence, then you're not being yourself, and it's worth putting in the hard work, even if it takes longer, to develop your personality, your confidence. It's better to take the time to do that rather than using something like that. And through counselling years ago, I was told that anything that happened to me when I used drink to cope with these things, basically I couldn't grieve in situations, I couldn't feel the pain of them because I wasn't getting that rawness. So because I wasn't getting that rawness of the situation, I couldn't actually heal from it or learn from it and move on. I was in a constant state of that guilt, of feeling the pain of something. And that is a warning I feel for others, that I'd love other people to realise that as bad as it is sometimes, or not sometimes, all of the time really, we need to feel the rawness of it for what it is, that emotion, that feeling, that we don't use, say, drink, drugs or anything like that to get rid of that feeling. Now, my problem was with the ADHD and the autism, socially, I was just so awkward going out. I was okay when I was introduced to people and time had elapsed and I felt more relaxed and there was a relationship between friends or any person that I was meeting. It definitely was better like that, but that initial bit, I needed that, what I felt was confidence, and when it first kicked in, it was like, this is amazing. When they say, oh, that feeling's so great, can't they bottle that feeling? What they did for me, they bottled alcohol, and at the time I felt that it saved me. Obviously it didn't. It put me through many years of torment, trauma, and my teenage years, I was shy. I started to find my confidence, but then that was mixed in with the alcohol, with the beer or spirits, and I had quite a large group of friends who would go out. I'd start off with a couple before going out, just to give me that little bit of an edge, and then that turned into I had to have 4 cans, 5 cans, 6 cans before I went out. So I was well on the way before even leaving the house. So then when I was out, then drinking, then I was so far in front of other people, I was an absolute mess within a couple of hours. Blackouts, not knowing what I'd done. But then what happened was then it would be the next day, getting recollection of, did I say that to that person? Did I do that? I'm not sure. Back then as well, there wasn't smartphones, luckily, for the majority of it anyway. And you wouldn't have had that evidence, but people remembered. There was other people out, they weren't pissed. They weren't in the same situation as me. And an evening would start to be drip fed back to me, and I'd realise what had happened. And that feeling was absolutely awful. When I'd let down people, whether it be friends, family, to realise, you know, that I could have insulted people. But what I will say, and there's no excuse, my problem was where I've got this sense of injustice and I feel a good moral compass within me that I've always had, that would heighten due to the alcohol. So I always felt it come from a good place where if we was out somewhere and, you know, there could be some idiot walking past and smashing into someone, knocking into them, I'd look at it and, because I was pissed, I'd look at it and think, well, they've not apologised to that person. I'd take it upon myself to go over to them, want to virtually drag them back and go, you need to apologise to that woman or my friend or that bloke over there. I'll look back on it and I just sort of think, I get where I was coming from, but in another way, I just look at it and think, leave it alone. Things happen, there was accidents, people didn't mean it. But that heightened emotion was just going through the roof, and I was getting into more and more trouble like that. In some ways I look at it and just think I'm lucky to actually still be alive, that I lasted through that period without serious injury or damage. You know, I would go up to some big fellas, groups of fellas as well. It was mad, absolutely mad. But that sense of me doing it for a good reason got lost in the drunken haze, and it will come out wrong, it will be blurted out wrong, there'll be swear words put in there as well. My friends, I look back on them times, they would have sometimes sympathised with me, sometimes maybe felt they knew where I was coming from, I think. But over time that just chipped away, dented, was ripped through. I'll never know the full scale, although, like I say, 17 years has elapsed since then, and through getting older you strangely can lose friends that have been part of your life for a very long time. The ones that I still talk to now and still know, I would never know truly what they felt about me in them moments, in them times. I asked them to trust in me when I decided that enough was enough, even though I'd said that many a time and I knew deep down I wasn't going to stop it. But the time when I was going to, I had to ask them to trust me, and it was hard. the first few weeks because it was a different time for me. I didn't know whether I could keep that going. I wanted to. For the first time in my life, I wanted to, but I didn't know whether I could sustain it and whether people were bothered really. And I could understand that. I'd put people through so much, and I think I ruined nights out, evenings out, family gatherings, friends' family gatherings, and I look back on that and they were wasted years, and wasting other people's time and years. Still to this day, I can only apologise to anyone that I've known in the past, friends, family, former friends, that any time or wasted time that I've caused them any hurt, that I will be eternally sorry for that. I am a different person now, completely from that. I don't think I ever done anything really malicious or spiteful. I know there's people out there that do things like that. Like I said, it did start coming from a good place, but turned not in the way I wanted it to. But like I say, them teenage years, I mugged myself off really. There were relationships, people I was with. It changed my personality, and the good side of me that is very good was getting overshadowed then by these other traits, and relationships, romantic relationships were ruined, tarnished, friends. There was a lot over the years like that. Working relationships as well, colleagues that I used to work with, good colleagues. Some of them that, and I understand it, that one strike and then that's, wow, who is this person? And that's enough for them. And I get that, because they could be close-ish in a way, as a colleague could be, but they don't need to see or take that shit around them. And there's people like that I come across and showed part of me that was developing, and that was like a cancer in me. It was developing and showing a different side to me, and it was horrible. The more it was growing, I couldn't do nothing about it though, I felt. And then all I did was basically put more fuel on the fire, and I would drink more to try and cope with them feelings of depression, guilt, and stupid enough, the blackouts as well though. Not remembering was horrible as well though, because I wanted to, that's where the honesty was within me. If I knew something, I wanted to apologise, but then I think them apologies become nothing in the end, because you keep apologising, it means nothing, and I get that. I had this creative side to me as well though, that I always wanted to do something, whether it be music, sport, writing, and like a lot of people do, when they're pissed, they promise a whole load of things they're going to do, how they're going to change the world, and I've done my fair share of that. I lived a dream that weren't mine to live, rather than actually living what my dream should have been. And I wasted a lot of creative years then walking rounds with hardly any money, because it was just getting wasted on drink and clothes or whatever like that. But going around and acting a complete twat, and thinking at the time that I was like Liam Gallagher in his heyday, walking around but without the guitar playing and without the voice, the hair. And obviously I wasn't, and I did miss out, you know, on a personal level, just parking everything else about everyone else for a minute. There was a lot of things that I wanted to do within my life, and there's a lot of creative things that I should have been doing when I was younger, talents that I could have really honed and be in a different position, a different place to where I am now. But that's gone, and I can only do with my life obviously what I'm doing now, and you know, it's a shame, but that's why I'd hate to see other people waste their life on things that don't matter, that they can make use of their time. They don't throw it away. Even if they've got troubles, they don't throw it away pissing it up. The bottom of the glass isn't the answer. Snorting shit up, you know, it's not the answer. Any of them things, they're not the answer. They just waste time, they waste lives, they hurt other people, and they stifle talent. They absolutely stifle personalities, talent. They stamp it on the floor, they rip it up, they piss all over it. And then the trend went through then, literally through my 20s as well, that I was doing the same thing. I was going out, I was different work colleagues, the same would happen with them. They'd fall out of my life, new ones would fall in, long-term friends, I'd fall out, argue, then things would be sorted out because they knew I meant well, or I'd apologise, I'd be in bits, I'd be upset, emotional. I was just like a burning ball of fire that would just rip through places. And the biggest trouble with that is that ball of fire was burning no more than inside of me. It was ripping me apart. And I missed out on a lot of life because of that, because all I was it felt like a hollow person, and I was trying to put different personalities in there because I wasn't enough. And trying to fill a void with a substance is never gonna work, and that's why, like, in the second half of my life now, it's taken me a long time to, even after giving up, it's taken me so long to get my life back on track, deal with my emotions, work out why I'm like that, why I did that. And I've had to smooth out things, and I still feel like sometimes I'm even doing that today though after this. It's a web that's been woven so deep inside of me. To unpick it has taken a long time, and it's taken a hell of a lot out of me. And health-wise and all that, I think I realised that even though I've had benefits through stopping, there's been in other ways the unpicking of this health-wise and all that. I feel sometimes it's actually torn me apart inside, even more afterwards though, when I wasn't actually feeling that it was gonna. I thought for me, and this is not to stop anyone else giving up, but for me, I thought, bang, I've got to give up, and then that's it. It's gonna be sunshine and roses. And for me, it wasn't. I mean, yes, obviously, my life completely changed, and I wasn't getting into the trouble I was before. But then I had to work out what life was about, or my life was about, my personality was about, without something that had taken me through my teenage years, my 20s, and into my 30s. And it's taken a hell of a lot. I've not gone through, maybe out of embarrassment, I don't know. Maybe I'll share some of them at a later date, just to sort of show that when you hit rock bottom like that, what you go through. I've always said that I want to do something regarding alcohol in a positive way. And so I don't know if there's some way. I thought, can I write a book that can help people? Can I do a series of videos to help people? You've got to want to do it, because I had help from people. I had people that wanted to help me. One day I just thought enough's enough, and it clicked inside of me. I didn't want that anymore. I didn't want to feel like that anymore. And that is the only way that I did start to change. It had to change in me. But one thing I always think with anything though, like I said, is ownership. Personality traits that are bad, like I said, anger, addiction, anything like that. Just being unkind. You can't blame anyone else. It's the individual. You need to own it and think, I'm fucking up. I'm the problem. 100%, I am the only one that can change it. I've got to start improving my personality, start being kinder, start thinking about other people instead of thinking about me and thinking, oh, my life is so bad, I need to act this way, or I need to do this thing that's gonna help. Poor me. We have to change it. We can't blame others. And that was my problem with alcohol for so long. It was, life's unfair, so I need to drink. Life's what it is. But like I said, I'd like to, I don't want this to sound like as if it hasn't been a good thing for me. It's been an amazing thing. My confidence, the fact that I could have children. I couldn't have been a father back then. There's no way I could have been a father back then. It might have sorted me out, but fuck me, I would have destroyed their lives, I think. But it has been a good thing. It's given me a second chance at life, that I didn't end up as just another statistic of being, not here anymore. And it was a real thing, I think, sometimes, that if it weren't for that killing me, it would have been someone else who'd done it, for the way I was acting sometimes, and if I was out somewhere, or the company that I was keeping acting like that. But anyone out there who's going through any sort of addiction or any issues like that, if you reach out, I don't mind answering questions. I don't mind helping you if there's some way that I can try and help you, giving you ideas, trying to think of what I did along the way. And like I said, I know this, I don't want this to come across as too somber, but it's just a weird, strange topic for me. And it might always be that way. I just know it doesn't matter how bad life gets, I can't ever pick up a drink. And like I said, it's been 17 years, just over 17 years now. And depending on how long I live, it's gonna be 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. It will only keep going like that, because I can't go down that road. It don't matter how shit I might feel at any given time, that's only gonna make me even more shit. But that's the change we need to bring about if we want this to be better. So I'd like to say to anyone out there that's going through these problems, it can get better. It will get better, but you need to make that first step. Even if it's a tiny step, speak to someone you trust, reach out, friend, family, be honest, be honest. The first time when I really knew it was changing, I spoke to my mum, and I had bottles of spirits, and in front of her I poured it all down the sink, just to show that I mean it this time. This is the time, I mean it, I'm gonna do it, because I'm wasting alcohol. I was honest and spoke to my family and told them about the places that I hid alcohol, you know, in wardrobes, if it's in pockets, in coats. I felt if you can be honest and you can get all that out, even if it hurts or you feel stupid, whatever it is, you give all that up, you've only got one place to turn, and that's looking forward and moving forward. And them little steps is what will get you on that road to recovery. You got to implement fitness, nutrition, you know, looking after your mental health. All of them things you have to implement on that journey, and bit by bit, that hour becomes a night, that night becomes 2 days, becomes a week, a month, a year, 5, 10 years. It keeps going. But you've got to want it, you've got to own it. Seek help. If it's AA, brilliant. If it's not, then reach out to other people. Work out how you think you could do it. If you can't, then you do have to reach out to others. Like I said, I don't mind, I will help anyone out there that has got issues like this, because I know what it feels like. I'd like to, you know, if this opens up a debate, men, women, teenagers, whatever, I'd like people to chat on the comments on this video, or if we can get a community going about this, if we can help others, other people out there that have gone through this and they've changed their life around. If you can help, then brilliant. If I can help. So I'm gonna leave it there for now, and as always, if you can like, share and subscribe to my videos. I'm gonna keep dipping in and dipping out of different things that have either affected me that I think can help other people, and obviously other things that are going on within the country, within being a dad, being a man. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there, and like I'd like to say, try and make today better than you had yesterday. Take care, see you soon.